1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Out there in mandolin land, Mike Hedding here, coming to you today with an intermediate, maybe drifting into advanced level arrangement of St. Anne's Reel in the key of D. This is a great old fiddle tune. You might hear it in an old time jam, you might hear it in a bluegrass jam, you might hear it in an Irish jam. This is one of those ones that's done in a few different styles. And what we're going to work on for this lesson is maybe once you already know the beginner version and the basic melody of St. Anne's Reel, how do you spice it up? So this is not an arrangement that I would play if I was teaching the melody of St. Anne's Reel to someone, but this is an arrangement I might play. For example, if I was jamming with a guitar player, very common is I might play the fiddle tune, the guitar player might play their version, and we kind of go back and forth a few times. So this might be an arrangement I would play for solo 2 or 3 or 4, something when a little further on in the song where the melody has already been established. Then you can play a solo like this. So I've got a whole beginner lesson I've already done in the past where I taught the basic melody. So check that one out first if you want to learn the basic melody to St. Anne's Reel. But if you already know that and you want to spice it up, let's jump into this intermediate advanced level arrangement of St. Anne's Reel in the key of D. All right, let's start breaking down the first 9 measures to St. Anne's Reel, the intermediate version. We're in the key of D. The first 9 measures will be like halfway through the A part. You play the A part twice, so this will be one A part. So let's start breaking it down. Here we go. Do that a few times. I'll do it really slow. And one time up to speed. Okay, so we're going to start with our pickup in measure 1, and we're going to do just a little bit more of an advanced pickup. Part of what we're going to do in this arrangement is play with the timing. So there's going to be certain spots where we're going to play on the upbeat where your ear might be expecting to hear it on a downbeat, and vice versa. So that's kind of more of an intermediate advanced level technique, is playing with the timing. And that's where the pick direction becomes really, really important. So we're going to follow the pick direction below the tab really closely on this lesson. That's really going to help you out. The staple looking symbols below the tab are the downstrokes. The V looking symbols are the upstrokes. We're going to do downstrokes on the downbeats, upstrokes on the ands or the upbeats. Okay? So we're going to start actually on an upbeat, which kind of adds some excitement. Again, normally a more beginner level pickup, you're going to start on a downbeat, but starting on an upbeat just adds that extra little bit of excitement to your ear because you're playing in a spot where your ear doesn't expect to hear it. So it's just a little bit more exciting. So that's what we're going to do. So like I said, the pick direction becomes really important. So we're going to play on the and of beat 1. So what I would do is count 1, and then with an upstroke, we're going to play the open D string, and then the 2nd fret on the D with a down, and then 4th fret, and then open A, 2nd fret, 5th fret, and then open E, high E. So it's basically just like a kind of a scale run except we're starting on an upbeat. So we're going 1. What I would do is just practice looping it, and you can count beat 1 or just have it be silent. Either way. What I would do is count it while you're first starting it. So 1, 1, and then do it without it. And we're going to land up on this second fret of the high E string as our ultimate melody note we want to get to, but we're just walking up to it. Like that. So that's all we're doing there. Really slow. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. The other way you can tell if you did it right is that first second fret on the high E string should be a down stroke. So you have up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And then right there, we're going to stay on that note and we're going to do a little ornament. So for beat 2, we're going to play a quick 2, 3 hammer on and then back to the second fret. So I'm doing a down up with my right hand pick, and then I'm doing a hammer on, and then I'm just taking it off. And then open E, 5th fret on the A with an upstroke, and then 2, 5. So that sounds like this. This is measure 2. You're going to sounds like this. The basic melody is probably, and we're playing just a little bit more ornamented version. So 2 or 1 and 2 sound like this. I'm just looping 1 and 2. Now measure 3, open A string, and then 4th fret on the D with an upstroke. And then same idea here, we're going to play with the timing. So we're going to do down, up, up, down, up, down, up. So we're kind of syncopating it. So we have. So that's measure 3. So we have upstroke, open A, and then an arpeggio, which is playing the notes of the D chord in this case. Open D, 4th fret, which is an F sharp, and then A, and then high D, 5th fret. We're going to use those arpeggios a lot. So that's the 1, 3, and 5 of a major chord, or the 1, flat 3, 5 for a minor chord. And you can take those 3 notes and mix them up in different orders, which is a great way to make melodies. So this melody has a lot of arpeggios, so we're going to play with that idea, especially in the B part. So we have. And then measure 4 into a G chord, 2nd fret on the A string, and then 5th fret on the D with your 3rd finger, open D, 2nd fret, 5th fret, open D, and then 4, 5. So same idea here, we're playing with an arpeggio now of a G chord, so we have the 3rd note B, root note G, and then 5th note D. Remember, you don't always have to start with the root note. So this time we're playing 3, 1, 5, and then we're playing with that idea of taking 3 notes and then 4, 5 is just like a pickup back into it. So what we're doing there is we're taking those 3 notes of the arpeggio, playing them back and forth, and kind of playing with that idea of 3 notes versus 8th note. So 3 notes, 1, 2, 3, doesn't divide into 8 evenly. So when we play that syncopation, we play those notes back and forth. What you get is you get down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So that melody is changing from an on-beat to an off-beat, which is really cool. It adds that syncopation, that excitement to your ear. You're expecting to hear that reoccurring line on the downbeat, but now you're hearing down, up, down, up. So the melody there is, and we basically just filled that up with, and then it's just a run here, which is basically a variation on the pickup we did in measure 1. So we're going to do open 2, open on the A string, So open A, 4th fret on the D, and then open, 2, 5, open. So very similar to that pickup we just played in measure 1. That's measure 5 on its own. Get really good tone there. Let's play 4 and 5 together. So we have. You can basically keep your first finger down for most of that first part. And then. So this is kind of a beginner technique, but practice this if you're not doing it as an intermediate player. My ring finger is always hovering over the 5th frets. My middle finger is kind of hovering over these 4th frets. My index finger is kind of hovering over the 1st fret. So when I play a lick like that, see how my ring finger is staying hovering over these 5th frets the entire time? Rather than, if you're bringing all these fingers back here, which is a common mistake, it's just going to be that much farther to find those notes. So same thing on the G. My ring finger is hovering over that 5th fret. Even if I'm taking it on and off, I'm not doing this, right? So that's probably a little bit more beginner, but just make sure you're not doing that. It's an easy habit to kind of let creep in, that flying fingers, if you're not conscious of it. So let's play that again, 4 and 5. Here we go. Now we're going to play the exact same lick as measure 2 and 3. So this is exactly the same. So one thing I believe I mentioned it, but let me reiterate it in measure 7, is we're going down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Make sure the picking is right there, otherwise you're going to get tripped up. Same picking as measure 3. And then a little ending lick. Let me play it and then I'll break it down. So this is a slight variation on the melody. Remember, this version's not exactly the basic melody. This is more of an intermediate level variation. So we walk into that, and then we're going to take that same idea of the arpeggios. So instead of going, so B, G, D, now we're going B, G, B, and then a high D. So we're taking those same 3 notes and just mixing them up in a different order, right? So instead of going, now we're going, first finger stays down the entire time. And then the same notes of an A chord, so which would be open A, 4th fret on the A, C sharp, high E, and then 5th fret on the high E, which is A, right? Same as your A or your D arpeggio, but now on the A and E strings. And this time we're going to take those 3 notes and mix them up in a different order, right? So that's a very interesting way to make a variation, which we'll talk about in just a second. So we're going to go open E, 4th fret on the A with an upstroke, back to the high E, high A, and then a little ending lick. 2 open on the E, and then 5, 4, 5 on the A. So you have and then 5 open, which is our pickup into the next A part. So that's 8 and 9 together. That's our little ending lick. So we have here we go. One more time. So that's a variation. We're experimenting with those arpeggios. Like maybe a more basic version would be. So see if we took those and we mixed the A notes up in a different order, how we could create another variation. So we could go, now play a standard A arpeggio. And then you can go back to the 4th fret, or I can take those 3 notes and mix them up to create a variation. So maybe on the G I go, or any of those G arpeggio notes will sound safe over the G, and any of the A arpeggio notes will sound safe over the A, regardless of what order you're playing them in. So that's an interesting, easy way to create a variation, is just take the 3 notes of an arpeggio, mix them up in a different order. So that's what we're doing there. So we have... So that's through measures 1 through 9. So the other thing that we should talk about is this fiddle tune follows a very standard form. I think of it as it's a pattern. So it's 1, 2, 1, 3. So those are the phrases. So we have phrase 1 is, and then we have phrase 2. Now we're back to phrase 1. And then phrase 3 is our little response. So it's a call, phrase 1, a response, phrase 2, then that initial call, phrase 1 again, and then a slightly different response, phrase 3. So 1, 2, 1, 3. A lot of fiddle tunes follow that pattern. So what's the benefit of knowing that is I would immediately focus in on phrase 1. Make sure I can play that just in my sleep. If I can play phrase 1, I've got 50% of the A part already down. It's also very powerful for memorizing the song. If I know that phrase 1 is going to repeat again, it helps me keep my place in the song. So very common. A lot of fiddle tunes follow that format. Whiskey Before Breakfast, St. Anne's Reel, Red Haired Boy. A ton of fiddle tunes follow that call and response, phrase 1, phrase 2 format. So that's what we're using for measures 1 through 9. So let's play measures 1 through 9 again in its entirety. Here we go.